If your man is not simping over you, clinging to you like you're a thong, then simply maybe he's gay, or maybe he's just not actually that interested in you. And you cannot, as a pretty girl, as the beautiful, amazing woman you are, afford not to date a simp. In today's society, we have this idea that being a simp is a bad idea. Especially the men, the alpha men out there on the podcast talking to each other. Oh, I think a macho man eats a carnivore diet and he bench presses 500 pounds or whatever. I don't know what these men get up to, but they probably get up to something behind the cameras of these podcasts, and I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but we can only guess. But with this very big spike in alpha male content, we see all of these men talking about, oh, a simp. A simp is a man who doesn't have any masculinity, and a simp is a man who is like, I don't know. Honestly, the simp thing, to me, it just sounds like trying not to please women. And if you're not trying to please women, who are you trying to please? You're first and foremost, you're definitely trying to please the patriarchy. You're definitely trying to please the male gaze. You're definitely trying to please something that's not a woman. And what is that then? Is that a man? You're trying to please other men so that the men will let you into their little club, and now they're gonna eat steak and say and that's for real. In my head, in my humble opinion, that is exactly what the men that are saying that being a simp is bad, or oh, he's just simping, or oh, you want a simp. You know what? That actually rings the same way as when men start saying that you're gonna end up alone, or you're gonna end up with cats, and you're gonna be single forever. It's like, is that a threat? You're saying, oh, you're gonna get a simp. Oh, you want a simp? Like, yeah, is that such a bad thing? Oh no, I'm so afraid of having a man that actually truly adores me and spends time and money on me and makes sure that I'm taken care of, and who values my mental health and my bodily health and everything. Boo-hoo, I hate having a man who's actually so interested in me that he's willing to give up everything to make sure that I'm good, and he doesn't talk about being an alpha man because he's man enough. Honestly, simps are actually the most masculine men out there. Yeah, I said that, because simps are willing to let go of trying to please other men to make sure that they please their woman. And you know another thing that simps don't do? They don't talk all day about how masculine and how manly they are. You know who needs to talk about how alpha and masculine and big and strong and I can handle things? You know who needs to talk about that? Men who don't feel like they have that going on. It's basically projecting, it's overcompensating. If they feel like they need to say it, it's probably because they don't have it. It kind of rings the same way as when men say to women, like, beauty doesn't matter, and it's like we see commercials about beauty products every day. Like, be so for real, it does matter, and you wouldn't bring it up unless it didn't matter. Because if it didn't matter, then it wouldn't be a topic of conversation, because it wouldn't be something that you were trying to flip a power structure about. It's like when men say that women and men are equal. You wouldn't bring up that whole idea that women are equal if it wasn't because you clocked that women are still not equal, or women are still not being treated equally. It's probably because they clocked that women actually do have inherent value, but in order for the power balance to still be in the men's favor, they have to start talking about equality. That is the exact same vibes I get from men who are constantly focusing on talking about how macho, masculine, how men that talk about simps, men that want to talk about simps, men that are in the comment section saying like, oh, you just want a simp. Yeah. You know what simp stands for? Simp is an acronym. Simp stands for super invested man and protector. Honestly, I could come up with so many acronyms with the simp. Like, leave a comment down below for what simp actually means as an acronym, like SIMP. I don't know what you heard about me. Cause he's a SIMP. If your man is not a simp, is he really your man? Are you sure he's not some other man's man? Because you know what? A lot of these men that are very like alpha, the only reason they're trying to be this alpha is because they feel like they don't have it. It's like if you're watching the mole and someone's like, I'm not the mole, I'm not the mole, I'm not the mole. That's suspicious. That's really suspicious right there. Like, why are you so obsessed with not being the mole? I have questions for you. And the men think they so slick by talking about masculinity like that. But there's also a dark side to this. It's the women that fall for men that are on some alpha stuff. I pray to sweet Lord Jesus, and whatever you do believe in, you can believe in whatever you want to believe in. That's not what we judge on in this channel. I pray to sweet Lord Jesus that if you watch my channel, you will not be dealing with these type of men. You'll only be dealing with simps that will literally kiss your feet and suck on your toes if you permit them to. You know why all of these alpha men have become so obsessed with talking about simps, and like why the term simp is really something that we culturally have to deal with today? It's because women are starting to wake up and choose actions over words. And what happens when women start choosing actions over words is that the men that are not willing to do any actions, they short circuit. And well, first and foremost, they don't know how to use actions. They don't want to, because that would mean that they would have to change their behavior, and they're not trying to do that. They've been used to getting everything because they grew up with the generation of moms, like my mom's generation, or maybe even the generation before my mom, where it's like the mom was doing everything and treating the men like they're some little god, and he doesn't know how to even like cut up a grape. These men are getting really frustrated, and they're basically channeling their frustration out on women, but they're also channeling it out on men, the men that are actually willing to actually treat women nice, because they're getting triggered by the fact that now women are actually expecting actions. When you start expecting actions and you only act on actions rather than words, then what men tend to do is that they try to use words more, and they try to use bigger words, vocabulary much, and then they will start to make up words like simp to make it seem like, oh, there's something wrong with having a man like this. There's something wrong with women who have men like this, and that their man is not man enough. Essentially, it's both men gaslighting other men that are probably perfectly great, amazing men, but they brainwashed into believing that in order for them to be masculine, they need to be like women haters. And they need to, like, in order for a woman to like you, you need to be bad. That's some first grade, oh, if he pulls on your ponytail, that means he likes you type thing. But the worst thing about this is that women who actually do wake up and start to clock that action mean more than words, even then, you're still susceptible, or whatever that word is, to being wooed by these men words, because this is a man's world. This is all about patriarchy, and there's like this inner little voice within a lot of us women that are like, oh, I need to make sure that I do something that the men like, because I'm afraid of being excommunicated from the tribe, aka that, ooh, if I like a simp and they say simps are bad, that means that I'm a witch or something, and now I'm gonna get burned at the stake for wanting something that benefits me. Men that say that men are simps are actually some of the men that are most dangerous, because these men are not willing to heal themselves. These men clock that in order for them to get the woman that they want, they need to step up and do something different, but they don't want to do something different. So what they do instead is that they talk and talk and talk and talk. And a woman might think that this man who has all of these masculine promises and all of these things that he wants to do, he's going to be good in the long haul. He just needs to heal, and maybe she can heal him. Girl, no. What are you doing? We're not, it's 2025. We're not building no man. The only thing we're going to go out and build is a snowman, if anything, if we even get to see snow this year. But let's double back for a second to the whole why the men that say that simps are gay are actually gay. If you are a simp, what are you obsessed with? You're obsessed with you're a woman. You're obsessed with making sure that she's good. You're obsessed with making sure that she's taken care of. And you couldn't care less if someone's going to call you a simp. Okay? If you are a man who's obsessed with calling other men simps, then what are you actually truly obsessed with? Other men's opinion. And of course, that don't intrinsically mean that you are gay. But as we talked about before with the whole, if you need to talk about how masculine you are, there's probably something that you're trying to hide. If you're obsessed with wanting to prove that you're a masculine man to other men, but you're not willing to actually put in the effort and provide women with what they need, then are you really interested in women? I know if a man truly wants something, he's going to do everything in his power to get it. And this can either be the woman that he truly wants or attention from other men. But because we have a society that is extremely built on homophobia, there's so many men that feel like they need to hide their true identity because they don't want to be excommunicated. They don't want to stand up and try out something because they're afraid that they're going to be scorned by other men. They're actually more dependent on men's opinion about them than most women are. It's like kind of like when you have a crush on someone and like the only thing you can worry about is what they think. What are they doing right now? What if they think this about me? And ooh, that's exactly what it's giving when you hear these men talk about how, oh, some men are simps and this man and that man and man. And boy, do you have a crush on someone? If you truly loved women, you would be out here making sure that women are taken care of. Even if it's not even your dream woman, you would just make sure that women are not in bad situations. But if the man who is very obsessed with this idea about simps is not gay, because that's not only the only thing he can be if he's obsessed with other men. It sounds a little redundant, doesn't it? Another path that a man could be going down if he's obsessed with talking about simps is that he's clocked that he cannot afford the type of woman that he truly wants. He actually is straight. He actually does like women, but he's not willing to put in the effort and the energy to actually acquire, take care of, and be there for the woman who actually deserves what she deserves. He knows he can't provide that for her. So what he's going to do is that he's going to paint men that actually do that for other women. He's going to paint them as bad. He's going to paint them as too much. He's going to paint them as something that he's definitely not going to encourage or engage in because he can't afford to do that. It's like if someone has a really, really nice car and you would really like a nice car, but instead of you being like, you know what, I really admire that car and one day I'm going to have that car. It's like, oh, but they're just some rich person who doesn't care about other people, I bet. So their cars, like, I'm not materialistic like that. That's the exact same thing that these men that are all about talking about how men are simps, and that's what they're doing. They truly want to be able to provide for a woman. They want to be able to take care of a woman. They want to be able to make sure that she has everything she needs. They want to make sure that they can help her, they can take care of her. They want to make sure that they can do what they need to do for their woman. But they do not have the means, the morality, or the motivation to be able to take that upon themselves. So instead of them going out there, taking the plunge and actually doing and making something of themselves, what they're going to do instead, they're going to try to put those men down that actually do that so that they feel better about themselves not doing any of that. Basically, this whole spiel about men and simps and all of this, it's just a men having a whole projection discussion with themselves in the mirror, even when they're around women. You can tell a lot about men if you just shut up and observe. Like, if you keep quiet, you stop oversharing, you stop over this and that, you can tell a lot about men from just like observing them and listening to what they are saying. The thing a man should be saying, you want me to tell you what a man should be saying? And also it should be backed up by actions in some way, but you know what a man should be saying? I don't like it when other men say that they love a woman, but they're not willing to help her out in any way. They're just here to take her time and her energy, and they're not actually willing to make sure she's taken care of. You know what? Men are actually going to say that. Men are actually going to provide that for you. But we've been brainwashed to believe that we shouldn't aspire to have that because other men don't want to aspire to do that. And you know what? These simp hater men, they still want access. They still want access to women. They just don't want to do what they need to do to acquire this access. That's why they're going to talk about how men who do all of this and all of that for their women are simps, and oh, you should be paying 50-50 and you should be doing this and all of that. This is a partnership. A relationship is a partnership, yeah, but if that's the only thing you can talk about, like, oh, a woman should be, what does she bring to the table? It's because there is no table. This man does not have no table for a woman to sit at even. Like, what is she gonna do? There's probably not even a chair. Simp men are the only men you can afford to date as a woman, because you know, if you date other men that are not simps, these men will clock up your mental capacity with their self problems, because they're not going to try to solve any of your problems. They're just going to try to get access to you so that they can take your beautiful, amazing feminine energy, because they've not healed theirs. The men that are calling other men simps haven't healed their feminine energy. That's why they're so obsessed with trying to appear masculine. And you might think, oh, well, isn't it about healing their masculine energy? You cannot fully step into one energy if you haven't healed the other one. That's why if you're a woman and you want to step into your feminine energy, you have to heal your masculine energy. You're not just in one energy, it's a balance of both. But the men that are calling other men simps, they have not balanced or faced their feminine energy. This is exactly the reason why these men get extremely triggered if you call them gay, because they have not healed that feminine energy and they're afraid of facing it. If they weren't afraid of facing their feminine energy, they wouldn't care if someone said that they were simps. They wouldn't care if someone said that they were gay, because they know it doesn't apply to them. They only get triggered when there's something deep down that they know they haven't healed. And this is exactly why it's very dangerous to date a man who is extremely obsessed with the opinions of other men, because he's not going to be able to be there for you truly 100%. You're going to be there for him. And he's not going to be able to pour into your cup. So you're going to be giving him and giving him and giving him. These men haven't healed their feminine energy enough. So what they do when they meet a woman is that they take her feminine energy. That's why these women, when they meet a man who's toxic, you can tell that they're becoming hardened. They're becoming drained. You know, have you ever seen the pictures or the videos on social media where it's like someone shows a picture of what they look like before they met their man and after? Like, it's drastic, because these men haven't healed their feminine energy, so they have to steal yours. They can't supply you because they haven't healed. They can't nurture because they haven't healed that part of themselves that actually understands the value of that feminine energy and having the balance. That's why they're so obsessed with the masculine energy, because they think that is some gap that they can close if they just get so obsessed with lifting weights, talking about purity on podcasts, and eating a carnivore diet. They think that that can fill that gap that they haven't healed within themselves. And that's also why they use other women to make them level up so they can actually get the woman that they truly want. Men do that. Men that haven't healed their feminine side, men that haven't healed themselves, will feel like in order for them to be able to acquire another woman that they truly want, their dream woman, they need to use a woman to get them there, because they can't supply themselves with the calm that they truly need. So what they're going to do is that they're going to have to go to another woman to take and take and take from her, take and take and take and take until they can't take no more. And now she's provided him with half the rent and all of her energy and beauty and all of this. They've literally like all the feminine energy out of her. Now she's hardened and masculine, which gives him a reason to leave her, because it's not the same as it were when they met. And now he can move on to the girl that he actually wants, because now he's built himself up. And he's going to take credit for it, like the woman didn't do all the hard work. And this is exactly the reason why we also can't be dating men for their potential. We have to date them for where they're at now. And this is also why we got to get really, really good at observing rather than just oversharing and oversharing. You need to make the man talk more than you do. And if you need to talk about the things that you like to do. Talk about your special interests. Talk about what you like. If you don't have anything like that to talk about, then that's a problem you gotta fix, girl. You have to fix something that you got going on in your head. Because if you don't have anything positive to talk about, anything that you're interested in, anything that you like to do, then of course you're going to be attracting men that don't have anything other to do than be a incel man on podcasts and in social media forums hating on women. Because you're not going to be whole yourself, but that's a whole other conversation. You can't date men for their potential, because they will be stuck at that potential level for the rest of your life, because you're going to be thinking you can make him something he isn't. You can fix him up, and he's going to take that help happily, because now you're doing all the actions and he's not going to have to do anything but say that, oh, he's going to change. You're going to try to make him change. He's going to see that you're willing to do everything, and he's going to do less and less and less, until the point where you become so masculine that now he has the argument, oh, you're so masculine, I don't want to be with you anymore, and oh, the dynamic just shifted, and it just didn't feel like nice anymore. If you want to protect your feminine energy, I can make a whole video about this. If you want to protect your feminine energy, you have to get good at letting men do whatever they do. Inspire them. Don't take their job. Their job is to be the man. Don't become the man to show them how to be the man. That's what we women like to do. We like to show people how we would like to be treated by treating other people that way. But to men, first and foremost, it's kind of an insult. It makes men feel like they're not doing enough. And also, they will also sometimes take it as like, oh, okay, I'm not going to do anything because she's doing all of it. She can do it all. If men see that you can do it by yourself, they're not going to help you do it. So what you need to do instead is you need to be very good at observing. You need to get very good at making sure that you put yourself first, put your own growth first. And when you grow, when you give yourself princess treatment, when you show up for yourself, you make sure that you get everything you want, he's going to have to show up. And when he doesn't do what you expect him to do, what you want him to do, you're not going to comment on it like on some, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? I don't like this. I don't like that. You're going to praise him for what he does right, like a dog who gets a treat when they give you their paw. But you're not going to make this guy feel like, oh, I don't have to do anything because she's going to do it all. That's what these men feel. They feel like, oh, she's going to do it all. That's because we want to show people how we deserve to be treated. But men see that as a masculine thing, because men don't do that. Men, they do what they need to do to get where they want. And if they don't have to do nothing to get access to you, if you're going to do everything for them, then that's a sweet deal for them. That's a sweet, sweet, sweet deal. And the men are going to just not do anything, because why would they? And that's how they built themselves up till they meet another woman, because now they have all the time and all of the care and all of this in the world, and they can build themselves up, and then they could go out and get the woman that they truly wanted, because they didn't really have to put that much effort into the relationship to get what they want. If they don't work hard for you, if they aren't simps, if they aren't trying their best to get on their knees and beg for your love, make sure that they kiss you all over and make you feel like you're a princess, then they're not it. Because they will make you feel like you're doing more, and they will make you do more. And then that's how you end up becoming masculine, and that's how they're like, oh, you're so masculine now, we don't fit together. If you're his dream girl, he's gonna do everything in his power to make sure that he has you. Men don't value something that they don't have to work hard for. They want to feel like they had to run a marathon to get you. They don't want a participation medal. And if you're not his dream girl, he's not going to do that much for you, because he's just going to see you as a placeholder. And the men who call other men simps, they just don't want to do the work that they really have to do. So that's why they get so angry when they do see a man who gives their woman everything, because they know that they want to do the same, or they know that they want to be treated like that woman is being treated, but they can't be honest about either or. They can't either be honest about the fact that they want to be treated like that. They don't want to admit that, or they don't want to admit that they need to yank themselves in the back and get up and do some work. They don't want to admit that. They want the trophy, but they don't want to do the work. And then when they get the trophy without doing the work, they don't value it. These men are very confused, girl. These men are so confused. That's why sometimes it's just better not to deal with them. And that's why you got to be focused on yourself instead of these men, because these men are not always sure about what they want either. So they're just going to waste your time. That's why you have to get to a point where men start calling you a gold digger or mean or whatever, because then you know that you're very clear about what you truly want. You're standing in your own power. But anyways, if a man's not a simp, you shouldn't be dating him. A man needs to be a simp, a super interested man and protector. Yeah. Maybe we need to do a video about how to spot a simp and how to find a simp. Anyways, I hope you guys liked today's video. I love you. Mwah.